aka Madam Web can't even pick between Mr. Fantastic and Captain America. I'm joking, mostly. So, The Materialist is, to be frank, a grim but realistic look at the modern world of dating in your 30s and 40s, when the biological clock is ticking and women can, to be frank, be picky about who they end up with, which, yeah, no, that's not a bad thing. You should be very choosy. That's not me being funny. Like, make good choices. That's it. That's not a bad thing for the record. Anyway, divorce rates are high because I'd argue it's the result of people not taking, well, people in general, but also women, I think for the most part, not taking crap in a marriage and, sorry, now I'm rambling. A 30-something-year-old, actually no, I think they say her age, she's about 35, I want to say. Anyway, Lucy Mason is a 35-year-old something who is a voluntary celibate matchmaker in New York City because somehow that's a job now. She has things down to a science mostly, and she is gifted and cursed with knowing how to match people. And it's pretty spot on, I'd argue. Instead of going with someone's exact picks or, their dream date, she picks someone that checks most of the boxes, but they actually have to come from similar backgrounds, similar family upbringing, similar income levels, and similar look on some level. It's right from the jump. And let me be clear, this movie is not for everyone. It's not so much a rom-com as much as it is a romantic drama with very, very minor comedy thrown in. There's a lot of weight to a lot of these scenes. It often gets its most raw when it's realistic in what's happening. It's at this point I want to talk about something that I never really noticed that was a big deal until this movie really pointed it out to me. The 6-foot rule. So, and I always heard women prefer tall guys, I just never gave it a lot of thought. But apparently, okay, so most women want a guy that's not only taller than them, but at least 6 feet tall, 5'10" pushing it. Cards on the table, I am 6 feet tall. And my son Ollie, being born, has the crushing responsibility of being a minimum of 6'6" and living by the law of the giants. I am sorry, my son. Forgive me. I bet you he'll never see that joke. I bet you he'll never see it. He'll go through all these videos and never find that one. Anyway, I never give it much thought. But there's a scene very early on in the movie where Lucy's talking to a colleague and they state how the surgery, although it costs $200,000, it can give a man an extra 6 inches in height, which is a game changer. It's a big difference. It can double his value in the market, quote unquote, from Lucy. Which, I mean, the thing is that Lucy sees these people not as individuals, but as a market, as a commodity, kind of taking the personality out of it. That's not necessarily a bad thing when you're matchmaking. You need to be able to be objective, but also they're people. Now, let's dive into Lucy, shall we? Not like that. Now, far removed from Christian Grey, Lucy is a materialistic person. She is very ambitious, but also quite vain. Like, her number one factor in dating a guy is that he has to be rich. And I mean rich. Now, let's pause right there for a mini discussion. I think the first thing is that most people want to immediately call her a gold digger. And I mean, yeah, that's one way to look at it, but let's try a different lens, shall we? Lucy grew up, by her own admission, poor, with her parents fighting about money all the time, and she wants to be with someone where money is not an issue. And I mean, it's kind of hard to blame her. She's upfront about it. If she was secretive and only wanted someone for money but lied, that's a different story. But she's upfront in saying, you don't make enough for me to date you. Is that kind of mean? Yeah, but she's upfront about it. So I think there's a difference there. It's the first barrier to be cleared for any possible suitors. The only real negative connotation I can say is that she doesn't want to build with a guy. She wants someone that's already done the building themselves, which, again, I kind of get it, but on some level, there's some romanticism to the building. That's how she roots out the guys, and that's how she ends up with Pedro Pascal, or Harry Castillo, as he's known in the film. A very, very, very wealthy financier who meets Lucy at his brother's wedding, which, real quick time out, there's like a really funny scene where Lucy is talking to the bride to make sure she wants to go through with the wedding. Like, Lucy's ready to walk out of the wedding with her if she wants to, but she decides she wants to stay. And Lucy's asking her, well, why do you love him? And the bride is brutally honest and says, I love him because he makes my sister jealous. And I legit could not stop laughing for several minutes. Now, time in. Harry is, on the surface, a good guy. He takes Lucy to nice restaurants. He pursues her relentlessly. He also takes her to places so expensive he does not look at the cost because he just drops his card because he is rich. Granted, they do move fast, but that's also at the wedding is where Lucy meets our player number 3, John, played by America's ass, Chris Evans. He's a 37-year-old waiter who once dated Lucy a very long time ago, and they've both grown in the time since then, since their breakup. But the cost of their breakup is still there. It comes down to money. And we see the past, why they broke up. We see the fight. They were too broke to afford a car, too broke to take the car into the city, and they fight over $25 parking. Don't get me wrong, there is a romanticism to the idea of starting from scratch and building together. Me and Nikki have this running joke about block cheese, because when we first got married, I was working and she was pursuing her master's degree. We had one income, so we had to be careful with money, particularly when we did grocery shopping. I would buy block cheese because it was the cheapest option that we had, and we could just shred it, cut it up in slices, whatever we needed it to be. But the fact is that we bought block cheese because we were, to be frank, poor at the time. And as our income levels grew, as I got a better job, we bought, this is going to sound real stupid, sliced cheese. And then Nikki got her job, we started buying shredded cheese, and then we have a house, and now we buy this like weird platter that has like 4 different kinds of cheese, and it's really dumb. But I joke with Nikki, block cheese, because it's nice to see how far we've come from where we were. It's an issue that Cap needs to set for himself, though. He has said on his career about becoming a serious stage actor, and that holds him back from having financial security, which is a big deal, and that's where I kind of fault him on it. I understand passion for your dream, but you're not a trust fund baby who can waste his time. You do need to build on some level. That's a key characteristic, is pursue what you love, but also you have responsibilities. If you want like the other things, you have to put your responsibilities ahead of what you love. And I'm not trying to get too serious in this one, but I see the fault in there. Him with, working more, doing more commercials, and selling out for mainstream stuff to pay the bills. It's necessary. This boils down to Lucy's at a point where love is a business transaction, where each person needs to bring something to the table. One man is a millionaire who's madly in love with her, while the other one is a broke actor, but in his defiance, he's grown up a bit. Now, this is about the time that Lucy discovers something about Harry. He has scars on his legs from a surgery that made him taller. And that's when we get a very raw performance from Pedro Pascal. How people look at him different, from airports to banks to restaurants to women. He talks about how he's never struck out since he had the surgery. Hell, the proof is in his brother, who got married within 2 years after having the surgery. They both got it. And even to this point, Harry was planning on proposing to Lucy while they were going to go on vacation. And it's also interesting to look at from Lucy's perspective, because she even makes a point of saying that her wanting to end things does not come from Harry's stint about the surgery. She had a nose job and a boob job. The body is an investment, and they both made theirs. It's sobering to think that it's something that's sobering to think about. Cards on the table, I've never really thought much about the role that height plays in dating until this film. It's written exceptionally well. The only scene that's more raw than this is the scene when Lucy and John have a fight about possibly getting back together. John doesn't want to be her rebound or her little safe space. He wants to be her world. But it comes down to the same thing before that broke them up. Lucy hates him for being broke, but she also hates herself for feeling that way about him. It's too much. She is so insecure about money that she isn't sure how they could make it work. And in the middle of all this rawness, we have a moment of collapse. Earlier in the film, we find out that one of Lucy's clients, Sophie, was assaulted on a date that Lucy had made. And Lucy feels an intense amount of guilt, so much so that she has to take a step back from work because it's emotionally draining and scarring. It's taxing. She's had 9 weddings, good job, but also she put this woman in a position. Granted, there was no way she could have known that this guy was going to assault Sophie, but nonetheless, she feels that guilt. But it's at this point, kind of not mid-fight, but like post-fight, that she gets a call from Sophie. The guy's outside her apartment and he wants to talk. So Lucy and John drive into the city. It takes them over an hour, but they finally get there. And that's where Sophie and Lucy kind of have their like breakdown conversation. Sophie's scared to die alone. And Lucy just only conveys you're going to be okay. And that they are friends. John commits to bettering himself while Lucy gets a massive job offer. And the film ends with a sort of happy ending of them maybe getting married in City Hall, which is damn near bleak introspective as to what our new modern dating world really looks like. It's tough out there if you're single, I'm assuming. It's not a bad thing though. Love and math can go hand in hand. It's important to remember that people are people though. For me at least, the more I wrote about this film, the more I began to like it. It's the more quandaries of it. Can you blame this guy for pursuing his dream? But at some level, also, you gotta grow up. And I don't say that to be mean. I say that because if you want to get married and have the family, you gotta put what you want on the back burner sometimes. It's necessary. I don't know. It's a really good movie. I do recommend people watch it. For me, at least, it's a 7 out of 10. Very entertaining. Might make my top 10. I'm not sure. But, yeah. What y'all think? Let us know down below. We'd really appreciate it. And we'll catch y'all next time. We'll see everybody.